giving this wonderful opportunity to interact with our experience in analytical validation of the finished product by the HPLC. So, so here the brief discussion about the analytical method development and validation. So first of all, go to second slide, Mr. Paul.
Wait.
Okay, in this one, content is there: introduction, method development, and method validation, conclusion, and reference. Okay, next slide. So first of all, why the requirement of the analytical method development and validation? So, analytical method development and validation play important role in discovery, development, and manufacture of the pharmaceutical. So, why the requirement of the analytical method development and validation? So, each product having unique. So, if one method is not suitable for other products, so if you any new product discover, or if you any to change the generic, means if you change the composition of the excipients and whatever the manufacturing process, if you are changed, you need to develop the new method to analyze that products. Okay. So in this method, first of all, we flow is like one. First of all, we initially develop the method, and then we go for method validation. Okay, first of all, in method development is the process of providing that analytical method is acceptable for use to measure the concentration of the API in specific compound dosage form. Yes, that is, if you having any 150 mg, 30 mg, 100 mg, like this one, what is the content is there in one dosage form? What is the actual content of the active pharmaceutical ingredient in the given dosage form? So example, assay and dissolution. So compound dosage, which is allowed to simplify the process to be employed to verify that the analysis procedure accurately and consistently will be deliver a reliable measurement of an active ingredient in the compound preparation. Yes, that if you measure the active ingredient in the given dosage forms, so either content is there or not. So that's why we are checking using this method. So we require the method development. Okay. Next, if you after completion of the method development, it is as per guidelines, you need to validate your method. So either method is suitable for intent purpose. So you need to prove your method having a stability indicating. So the analytical method validation is essential for analytical method development and tested extensively offer specificity, linearity, accuracy, precision, range, DL, QL, and robustness in summary analytical method development and validation, allow to confirm that the accurate and reliable potential measurement of the pharmaceutical preparation. So once we finalize the method development, so you need to validate you as per parameters given regulatory authorities like ICH, USFDA, whatever it may be, European Medical Agency, they having some own means guidelines. So then we are follow these guidelines and we prove our method is unique, reliable potency, means it is accurate, reliable, means stability indicating, intended to intended purpose, means intended purpose means we need to whatever the product content is there. So in stability studies also we need to check the our product. Okay, that is so. This is for brief discussion about the method development and validation. Okay, then go for next slide. Okay, suppose first of all, requirements, basic criteria for new method developments of the drug analysis. So the drug or drug combinations may not be official in any pharmacopoeia. For example, United States pharmacopoeia is there. European pharmacopoeia is there. Japanese pharmacopoeia is there. Suppose when your product is discovered, suppose if you going for generic, it is already in patent. So innovator means in some of the days the patent will be expired. So you need to apply ANDA, abbreviated new drug application. So in this time, some of the manufacturers.
Sir, Arun Kumar sir, sorry for interruption. Okay. Some of the participants, they are telling your voice is coming very low. You can keep
very
your
low?
your earphones can you keep like that?
Okay, it is okay now.
Now it is okay.
Okay. Sorry for disturbance. Okay.
Now you can tell like that, sir.
Okay, basic criteria for new method development of the drug analysis. Why? What is the requirement of the new method development? So, if the drug or drug combinations may not be official in any pharmacopoeia, suppose any pharmacopoeia means example United States pharmacopoeia is there, European pharmacopoeia, Japanese pharmacopoeia, in our India, Indian pharmacopoeia is there. So, one of your method is not there in official pharmacopoeia, then you need to develop the new method. So next, a proper analytical procedure for the drug may not be available in the literature due to patent regulations. Yes. So intellectual property right is there. Some of the manufacturer, they are not allowed to open uh, their methods. So patent regulations, property rights and everything. So if you're not available, so if you're not found any literature about this method, you need to develop the new method. So next, method develop analytical methods may not be available for the drug in the form of the formulation due to interference caused by the formulation excipients. Yes, if you some methods available in API, active pharmaceutical ingredients, but you don't have the formulation. So maybe not available. So whatever the formulations, maybe it is some example tablets is there, capsules is there. Same drug content we are using for tablet, capsules, oral solutions, injections, different dosage forms is there, suspensions is there, lyophilization is there, everything is there. So that's why if if you different dosage forms means you need to develop the new method again. Okay, due to maybe that old method. So if your method already in tablets, but there is not compatible oral solution, not compatible for injections due to formulation changes. So excipients compatibility not there, maybe interference. So due to everything, so if you need change the dosage forms, so same active drug is there same, but you need to develop the new method for different dosage forms. So next, analytical methods for the drug in combination with other drugs. Yes, it is some of the drugs having the combination of the 2-3 drugs also is there. Some best example antiviral drugs. So there's 2-3-4 drugs also combination is there. So if you have one method, if you that is available for only analyze the one API, but you don't have method for second product also, means active drug. So in this case, so analytical methods for the drug in combination with other drugs may not be available. So if you 2-3 drug combination is there, you need to require the new method development. The existing analytical procedures may require expensive reagents and solvents. Yes, some of the reagents and solvents, whatever the using the reagents during the preparation of the bubble phase, standard solution, and sample preparation. So some of the preparation also may be expensive. So that time case, one method is not only used for 1 month, 2 months, entire the stability life. If you develop the 1 month, this method used to in quality control throughout the life of the product, means stability. It is 64 months up to 5 years, 6 years. So in this case, so if you any method doubt having this expensive, this in this case you need to develop the new methods. Okay, this is the brief points about the why it required for the new method development. Okay, next analysis, next slide. Okay, next, steps in method development. So sample information. So what is the sample information? So I think maybe next slide is there. Sample information, define the separation goals, sample pretreatment, need of the special HPLC procedures. So sample information means pKa, drug molecular weight, and solubility profile, analytical profile. Define the separation goals, means if you should keep the goals. That time only you need to develop the methods. Without the goals, you cannot develop. So you need to keep some of the goals. My method is should be like this one. My method should be like this one. So what is means some of the acceptance criteria of system suitability. So suppose some of the peak shape, symmetry factors, tailing factor, percent of porosity of the system suitability, and remaining. So what is the peak shape, peak height? What is the resolution between the impurity peaks? What is the resolution of the degradation peaks and main peaks? Like this one, you should keep some goals. Okay. Next, sample pretreatment. Sample pretreatment step means how to prepare the sample extraction. Later we'll discuss about it. Need of the special HPLC procedure. Sometimes normal phase is there. We go for reverse phase. HPLC by PDA, HPLC by mass spectroscopy. So need to special HPLC procedure. Okay. Selection of the detector and detector settings, and selection of the LC method. Preliminary run, estimate the best separation condition, optimize the separation conditions, check for the problem or requirement of the special procedures. Next, method validation. Okay. Next. Okay, first of all, sample information. What is this content in the sample information? Okay, number of the compounds is present. Suppose you develop the one product. How many compounds is there? One compound is there, two compounds is there, three compounds is there. What is the related impurities about these components? What is the structure? What is the, you need to collect all these things. So what is the structure between, what is the degradation about these products? So it should come, you should gather everything about this product. Okay, next, chemical structure of the compounds. What is the means? Chemical structure means any functional group is there, any acidic or basic functional group is there, either ionizable or non-ionizable compounds. Like this one, you should collect all this literature. Okay, chemical nature. So what is the chemical nature means? Either acidic or basic or neutral. Either solubility means that is one only. Okay, molecular weight of the components, pKa value. PKa value, it is useful for the ionizable compounds mainly. So pKa value of the compound. Sample solubility means different diluents, different buffers, different buffer pH required for the sample solubility. So these are all the literature you should collect before starting the development. Okay, sample stability and storage. Either sample stability means either storage in room temperature or storage in refrigerator, which storage condition required that one sample. Concentration range of the sample. So concentration range means what is the specification means, based upon the reporting threshold, qualification threshold. You should fix the concentration range of the compounds in the samples. Okay, UV spectrum of the compounds. Okay, UV spectrum, properties of the direction of the compound. You should gather all this information before starting the development. Okay, next slide. Okay. Uh, okay. Separation goals. You should keep the separation goals before initiate the method. Resolution, precise. So you prepare the some samples. You again prepare the some samples, but it is not reproducibility is there. That time it is difficult. So resolution, precise. Whatever you prepare the 6 samples, whatever the standards, should precise. Means what is the percent of RSD should be within the acceptance range. And rugged quantitative analysis requirements. Okay, resolution to be greater than 1.5%. Okay, whatever the resolution between the impurities and resolution between the degradation peaks and known impurities, degradation between the degradation peaks and main peaks, and what are the placebo peaks should be separated. At least minimum 1.52. Okay, is better keep 2 during the stability studies. Maybe rise the degradation peak, the resolution may be decreased. That time your method will fail. So that's why keep better 2, more than 2 better. If worst case 1.5. Okay, what is the separation time? This is worst case 5 to 10 minutes. Means what is the elution of the main peak? This 5 to 10 minutes means assay dissolution. Okay, for related substances you require more time because you should dilute all the impurities, known impurities. What is the process related impurities, degradation peak, placebo peak. So you should keep at least 40 to 15 minutes. Okay, that is what is you keep runtime. For example, dissolution profile is quantitation 2% of RSD for assay. Yes, I'm already discussing what is the reproducibility is there. You should prepare. You prepare one product and another person you prepare the same method. You should compare. You should compare the results. Your results should be coincide. Okay, you should not coincide. Other you should having different variable the results. Method was not proper. So quantitation percent of RSD of the assays. Okay, pump pressure. Okay, whatever your mobile phase you prepare, you keep some flow. So you should keep some low pressure is required because what is the flow cell, detector cells, what is the column, maybe it will be get trouble later days after the method development. So you should keep low pressure, 150 bars, 200 bars. Okay, essential. UPLC means a little bit more because it is having very small particles in the column. So peak height, in this one also keep in mind. Okay, peak height means 1 AU required. If you more than 1 AU, the peak will be saturated and you cannot get the desired correct results. The peak height should be keep in mind. Assay dissolutions may not worry about it because it is the concentration of this concentration of the sample is very low, maybe 50, 100 ppm. But in related substances, the concentration of the samples it may be more than 1000 ppm, 2000, 3000 ppm also. In this case, you should keep in peak height because due to this saturation. Okay. Okay, solvent consumption, minimum mobile phase per minute run. Okay, you should keep in less runtime. You will save your mobile phase, and cost of the analysis and cost of your lab expense also less. Okay, you should keep this all these goals in your mind before starting the method development. Okay, next slide. Okay, next physicochemical properties. Okay, first of all, one new drug is there. You don't have any pharmacopoeia. You don't have any literature. Solubility profile required. How to perform the solubility profile? Different organic ratios. Water solubility, water plus methanol, water plus acetonitrile. So if in some some of the components not extracted in the solvent, so you should, in this case, you should go to buffers required. Buffer, what is the buffer pH? Also different molarity of the buffers you should keep. 50 millimolar, 100 millimolar, 10 millimolar. If you prepare different pH, different buffer and organic composition, you should develop this one. Okay, solubility profile, this will also useful for establish the diluent also. Okay, analytical profile, physicochemical properties, pKa, melting point, boiling point, degradation pathway. Okay, what is the degradation peaks is there in this one? Any means you should know about it before. Okay, stability profile, sensitivity of the drug towards the light, heat, moisture. Yes, some of the product take care about the light. You should keep on special grade of the lights. Okay, light, heat, moisture also you should know about it, everything about it before going. Okay, next slide. Okay, next, first of all, then we go for method development. First step is chromatographic detection. Okay, uh, chromatographic detection means select the detector based upon the chromosphere present or absence. Okay, majority of the pharmaceutical compounds exhibit the UV spectrum in the region of 200 to 400. Suppose if you our drug containing the chromosphere means that will be detected in UV region. So if it is not in the chromosphere in our drug, then we go for other detection methods. Some ELSID, reference detector, mass spectrum, fluorescence detector. If drug containing the fluorescence, then we go for FLID, fluorescence light detectors. Okay. Mostly our pharmaceutical components having the chromophore, so that's why UV region 200 to 400 is there. So if you're not there, then we go for other detection method. Okay, some of the detectors is there here. Okay, UV visible, in this UV visible fixed wavelength, variable wavelength, fixed wavelength. We should keep one or two wavelength only. Variable wavelength, now it is technology going to advance, so you should keep 2 to 400. Any wavelength you should keep. Diode array, photodiode array means you should to determine the peak purity, and this photodiode array mass spectrum will useful for whatever the peak purity and structural elucidation, everything. Okay, refractive index, if your chromophore is not there, then go for refractive index, fluorescence, electrochemical scattering detectors, conductivity, mass spectrometer. Now it is going very advanced detector is mass spectrometer, LCMS, liquid chromatography, and mass spectroscopy, GCMS also is there, evaporating light scattering. These are all the detectors is there. First, these are all available in literature and pharmacopoeia. But if you're not there, then you try to all these detectors. Okay. Okay. Next slide. Here, given some table is there. In which case, then we go for which detectors you need to select. UV, any with chromosphere. So, fluorescence detector, fluorescence compounds. Refractive index means compounds with a different RI to the mobile phase. Conductivity detector, electroscattering detectors, evaporating light scattering detectors, mass spectrum detectors. Commons. What is the means? What is the requirement about this one detectors? Is there? You should go through about this one. Okay. Next slide. Okay. If you your detection and your wavelength is finalized, so then it is go for choose for the column and bonding phase. So it is very heart of the analysis. Column chemistry is very important to know about it, because if you don't know about proper column, you're not getting the proper results. So choose the column and bonding phases. Choose the bonding phase based upon the polarity of the molecules. Polarity means our drug molecules having the polarity, non-polarity, mid polarity is there. So based upon the polarity means then polarity order is there: C8, C18, C8, C6 phenyl. So if you our pharmaceutical compounds mostly in polar. So whatever the C8, C18 and C8 bonding phase is less polar. So we are using mostly in reverse fed C18 and C8. So in drug component having mid polar, then we'll go for phenyl and amine. If you have a drug having non-polar, then go for cyano and silica. So based upon the drug nature polarity, then we will select for the what is the bonding C8, C8, C18, phenyl, amino, cyano, silica. This one we are selecting. Okay. Next slide is there. Next column dimension is there. So up to short 30 to 50 short run time for low back pressure. Long is there 250 300 higher resolution, long run time. Narrow means this is a 2.1 it's a particle means higher detector sensitivity. Wide 10 to 20 millimeter high sampling load is there. Particle shape, so spherical particle in the irregular particles. So first of all, you know about it. Suppose base in column mainly containing the base is still silica is there. Okay. In the silica, whatever the particles, silica particles is there. So silica particles is there. In the silica particles, what is the chemical bonding? C8, then when attached. Okay. Particle shape. What is the particles we are using? Spherical particle, irregular particle. We are using mostly spherical particle. Okay, spherical. Irregular nowadays we are not using. Okay. Particle size. What is the particle size? Standard size. Standard particle size range from the 3 micrometer, okay, to 50 to 20 micrometer is there. 1.5 3 micrometer particle size to chosen for the result with the complexes multi-component samples. Otherwise 5 to 10 micrometer should be used. If any 2-3 components is there, if you 5 to 10 impurities is there, then you will go for less particle size, because you should resolve the complex multi-components. If any single component is there, then you go for 5 microns, because if you go for less microns, your back pressure, your what is the pressure should increase. So you keep it in mind. These are the parameter to select the column bonding. Okay, next slide. Next, pore size. Pore size depend upon the different molecular weight. Okay, if you have a molecular components weight less than 2000, should 150 ohms or less. Okay, if your molecular weight is more than 2000, then you go for 3000 ohms. Okay, based upon the molecular weight, then you should go for select for pore size. Next, bonding type, monomeric bonding or polymeric bonding. What is the bonding means? Silica base is there, silica particles is there, bonding is there. Okay, C18C chemical bonding. So it is monomeric means only single chain is there. Polymeric means it is double chain is there. Okay. Okay, polymeric bonding is better for multi-point attachment. So monomeric bonding use the single point attachment of each bonded phase molecules to the base material. Polymeric bonding use the multi-point attachment of each bonding phase molecules to the base material. Okay, polymeric bonding offers increase the column stability and enable the column acceptance higher sample load. Okay, better if you're having sample loading means if injection volume your concentration was more means then you select for polymeric bonding. Okay. The next slide. Next. No, previous. Yes. Carbon loading. No, yes, this is only carbon load. Uh, carbon load refers to the amount of the bonded phase attached to the base material. Higher carbon load generally give the higher column capacity, greater resolution, longer runtime, and maximum degree of separation. Lower carbon load, shorter runtime, and maybe different selectivity. So carbon loading means whatever the C8, C6. Then before we are discussing about. So C18 having the more carbon, because what is the percentage of the amount of the carbon loaded on this column. So if you having more carbon loading, then you get the good results. Means you're getting the resolution, if you long run time, maximum degree of separation. If you're having any closely related compounds, that time, so whatever it maybe you trial, you cannot separate it. Then if you choose for high carbon loading, that it will give good results. Okay, a low carbon loading means if you some other cases, short run time, then based upon your requirement, then you will select for carbon loading. Okay, N capping. N capping used for to remove the surface thinol. What is in whatever I discuss in base is there, whatever the particles is there, free silanols is there. Actually, what is the bonding is there? Some of the bonding having the carbon loading and everything. Some of the chain is there. These are the empty is there. If you empty free silanol is there, what happen if your drug political attached to the uh, uh, column bonding? So again, secondary reaction will be happening this free silanol. So two-time reaction will be having. So that's why end capping means whatever the some TMS, trimethyl, some groups is there. We are introducing in this one. These are this group. Whatever the free silanol is there, close the whatever the reaction sites. So it is not possible to reacting the drugs. So in this case, if you don't have an end capping, if you getting poor peak shape and tailing getting more. So this one also one of the important factor end capping. Okay, carbon loading and end capping. Next, pH range. It is also very important because generally our silica base material is there. Silica 2.5 to 7.5 pH range is there. So mostly our mobile phase or whatever the buffer pH should in between this range. If you require more or less this one, you need to take special type of silica. Actually, traditional silica is type B. If you require to pure silica, type A silica, then you will get it that whatever the pH range is increased, maybe 1.5 to 10. If you require, mostly all the means all the analysis should be in between 2 to 8 pH range only it will be possible. Okay, if you requirements, then you will go for special type of the silica required. If you, because what happened if you less than 2.5 pH, your silica um, what is the bond is there, silica and chemical bond is that will be break. So it is not proper well. Okay, if you pH is 7.5 or 8 more than that, whatever the base silica is dissolved. So if you not get proper base, means it is not work proper. Okay, you should keep in mind. pH also very important. pH and temperature range also very important. Temperature and pH range. Now latestly manufacture design that whatever the pH and temperature range was more nowadays. Okay, surface area, whatever the surface area means, particles is there, whatever available surface area. So expressed in microscopic gram, and high surface area generally provide the longer retention, greater capacity, and high resolution. These are all are keep in your mind before finalize the column. Okay, next. Oh, next. First of all, detection is completed. Your column was finalized. Next, LC mode. Okay. What is the LC method? So, in HPLC only we have normal phase, reverse phase. Okay. In which case we are going for normal phase. In which case we are going for reverse phase. It is mainly polarity of the compounds. So, if your compound is non-polar, then we go for normal phase, because in normal phase, whatever the column is there, phenyl cyano, it is having more polar. Okay, so normal phase, more polar column means the separation will fast. If in this case you are using less polar columns, the whatever the compound is there, it will be staying more time in column. So it means your retention time is increased. So in reverse phase also, reverse phase means whatever the column is less polar, your pharmaceutical compound is more polar. That time it is eluted fast. If it is your column is polar, your drug component also polar, so it is having more interaction. Okay, stationary phase and drug molecule. So it is eluted later. So eluted later means your runtime is increased. So in this case, based upon your drug nature, either polar or non-polar, then you go for normal phase and reverse phase. Secondary and solubility of your drug. If your drug is soluble in water and methanol organic, then you go for reverse phase. Okay, your drug is not soluble in water, means non-aqueous. Now it is not soluble in water or methanol, then it is soluble in hexane, IPA, DMSO. Then you should go for normal phase. Okay. uh, ionic pair is there, 1-octane sulfonic acid, pentane sulfonic acid, then we are added to mobile phase additives, then it is converted into ionic pair. Mostly in HPLC, we are using reverse phase. In some cases, then go for normal phase and ionic pair. Then mostly we are using the type of only. Ion exchange also is there. If you cation exchange, anion exchange, okay. Different type of the modes is there, okay. Then whatever base, whatever your requirement, whatever the molecular weight, whatever solubility, what is your drug property, all these things you need to take the right decision of your LC mode method, okay. Next slide. Next, choosing the UPLC, HPLC mobile phase, okay. Uh, detection is completed, column is completed, your LC mode is completed. Next, important is choosing the your HPLC or UPLC mobile phase. So mobile phase mainly methyl, methanol, and tetrahydrofuran. Why you are using this uh, these solvents only? Because it is having low UV cutoff and available easily, okay, and it is not harmful, okay. uh, all these conditions and viscosity and interaction with column and what is the interaction with product, everything, okay. Acetonitrile, methanol, tetrahydrofuran, uh, uh, having the low UV cutoff means I think below 210 nanometer is there. Selectrons acetonitrile as the default organic modifier because the favorable UV transmitters and low viscosity. Yes, mainly we are using the acetonitrile as a mobile phase because UV cutoff and viscosity means if you less viscosity means the pressure in your column is low, so it is so low viscosity. But to avoid the pumping problem associated with 100% acetonitrile means in whatever the in A port we are keeping some buffer, B port we are keeping some pure acetonitrile means what is the pumping problems is the seal, whatever the instrument is the HPLC, pumping issues will happen. So don't keep on 100% acetonitrile. So at least 5 to 10% of the buffer or water you should add in your organic phase, okay. uh, Solvent properties, see, boiling point, purity, strength, refractive index, acidity, and basicity. These all are keep in your mind to select your mobile phase, okay. Next, first of all, some of the list of the solvents is there. What is the UV cutoff and viscosity is there? Acetone, acetonitrile, chloroform, dimethyl sulfoxide, dioxone, ethanol, hexane, isopropyl alcohol, methanol, THF, water is there. I'm already discussed acetonitrile. It is having low UV cutoff 190 and water also 191. Secondary preference is methanol 210. If your compound having less than 210 nanometer wavelength, then you should definitely go for acetonitrile, because if methanol having some issue with at 210 nanometer. So if you more than 210 nanometer, then you have this option about the methanol, okay. Acetonitrile, methanol, tetrahydrofuran. So water, this is what are the highlighted bold is there, that is the very widely used in our regular analysis, okay. What are the high pay hexane DMSO, what are normal phase we are using. uh, before going for before selection these solvents, the UV cutoff, viscosity, whatever the acidity, basicity, refractive index, then all things should keep in your mind, okay. Next slide. Okay. Actually, previous slide I discussed about the water, methanol, acetonitrile. So choosing the UPLC and HPLC, buffers and pH. Buffer and pH play important role in the ionizable compounds. Means acid functional group, basic functional group. So, okay. Uh, if you neutral means okay, whatever the water and acetonitrile, methanol, tetrahydrofuran, okay, then it is okay. Now, if you having your compound having ionizable functional group, then you require to buffer and pH is required, because buffer should be employed at least 2 pH units of the pKa. pKa here will play important role. Here Anderson-Hasselbalch equation is there. Your pKa plus or minus 2% pH is what is the drug is ionizable, ionization state, complete ionization or complete non-ionization is there. If your pH is equal to pKa means your drug is partially ionizable. So in this case, what happened? You not get good peak shapes. So because it is in partially ionizable, If your pH is plus or minus 2 pK, 2 pH, pK plus or minus 2 pH, that time your drug is 99% ionized or 99% unionized. That time only you are getting good peak shape and separation. Okay, this is for only ionizable compounds. Okay, next slide, next slide. Here the extension of the ionization relationship of the pH and pK. One of the pH is equal to pK means 50% ionization is there, means partial ionization. So in this case, you're not getting good peak shape and the separation also not good. Okay, pH is equal to pK plus 190%. It is pH pK plus or minus 2 is very good for analysis. Okay, 19% ionization or non-ionization. Okay, based upon the acidic or basic functional group. Favored acidic group means pH plus. Okay, if base group, pH minus. Okay, keep in mind. Okay, weak base also is there. pH minus 2 pK, 99% ionization is there. So if you drug is basic groups, then you keep in 2 pKi. Okay, pH should be pK minus 2. If your drug is acidic group, pH is equal to pK plus 2. Okay, okay, next slide. Some of the functional groups is there. Carboxylic acid, alcohol, amides, hydrocarbons, ester, ketone, ethers is there. Whatever the pK range is there. Carboxylic acid, alcohol, amines. So carboxylic acid means it is a acidic groups. Amines means it is a basic groups. So these are the some functional groups is there. The pK range also here mentioned. Before going for pH, establish the pH for ionizable compound. Just go through this one. It will may work out. Okay. Next slide. Some of the buffers is there. Mostly we are using the buffer. Buffer means why you are using the buffer? To keep the pH entire throughout the run of the analysis. So this buffer capacity, buffer having some capacity is there to maintain the certain pH throughout the analysis. So this is the buffer capacity. So if you means pH play a very important role. In this case, you need to maintain the pH throughout the analysis. So throughout the analysis means water is not possible to maintain the throughout. Organic acetonitrile, ethanol, this is not possible to maintain the pKa. So only buffers. So it is play important role. So what is the buffer capacity means? What is the molarity of the buffer will give the good means peak shape and dissolution, maintain the pH throughout the runtime. So that is good buffer capacity. So here some of the famous buffers is there. One of the most important buffer is phosphate buffer. We are using mostly in analysis, 90%. So it is having 3 pKs, means 2.1 is there, 7.2 is there, 12.3 is there. Means it is having 2.1 plus or minus 1. 7.2 plus or minus 1, 12.3 plus or minus 1. So you are getting some wide range of the pH. So UV cutoff also is very good to below 200. So solubility and availability and everything is very good in phosphate buffer. So then we are mostly used in phosphate buffer. Next, acetic acid also is there. One of the pK is missing in phosphate. That is in acidic 4.8 is there. So if you any pH is required in near the 4.8, then you're not able to getting pH in phosphate, then you select for acetic acid. Okay. Citric acid also is there. It is having 3 pKs, but what is the UV cutoff is 230 is there. So it is main disadvantage of this citrate buffers, and these citrate buffers used in the analysis, HPLC having some uses is there, seals issues and pumping issues is there. Whatever the citric acid is in reacted with whatever the pots is there, so that way that not preferable for citrates. Okay, mostly use phosphate and acetic. Then trice buffers is there, triethylamine is there. If you require triethylamine 1.1, if you less pH, then you go for triethylamine is there. Trifluoroacetic also is there, TFA, I think here not there. Trifluoroacetic acid is there. Borate buffers is there, pyridine. Some of the buffers is there. Mainly we are using acetic acid buffers, phosphate buffers. Okay. Okay. Next slide. These are all conditions. Whatever I said, if you whatever the selected and run, you cannot get the good results. So you need to optimize, change the gradient program, change the pH, If you some whatever the acidic drug is there, you less the pH, it is not work out. Change the pH, then increase the pH. So introduce the mobile phase additives. So additives means ionic pair reagents is there, triethylamine is there, trifluoroacetic acid. Then these are all are added in your our mobile phase. Introducing the different organic modifiers, acetonitrile, methanol, tetrahydrofuran, or ionic pair agent, octane, pentane, sulfonic. These are all the ionic pair reagents means uh, 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 it is increase the runtime. Sorry, increase the retention time of the analyte. So it is some if a drug having more polar in nature, so it is eluted early, means it is eluted within 1 or 2 minutes. So in this case, baseline was not good. Within 1 or 2 minutes, our baseline is not good. So that's why if eluted in this time, integration issues is there, some of the interference is there. So you need to minimize and you need to avoid this problem. We are adding ionic pair agents. If ionic pair agents added, it will be one of the layer will form. So in column, whatever the bonding particles is there, one of the slight layer will form. So drug will not uh, attach immediately. It will be take some time to attach. So that in this case, it will be eluted fast. So whatever the runtime means, maybe retention time delayed. So then we are using ionic pair reagents in mobile phase, changing the column. So we cannot get at single time. So we are changing the different columns is the different length, different particle size, different makes is there, water column, symmetric columns, Phenomenex column, Jorbax column, inertial ODS column, etc. So many columns is there. So we are tried. So that when changing the columns, all of these condition trial and error methods. So then we will finalize our final method. Okay, optimization is very important. Okay, next slide. Okay, next, once our chromatographic condition is finalized, so sample preparation. So select the optimum sample amount, determine the diluent that give the best solution stability, solubility of the sample. I'm already previous discussed about it. So in before developing solubility studies, you need to perform. So different organic ratios, water organics, buffer, different moralities, sorry, molarities of the buffer, different pH ranges of the buffer we tried. So in which buffer pH and molarity and which composition we are getting good optimization mean extraction, then we select for diluent. Okay, diluent very play important role. So in the diluent, the sample should be stable also. Some of the diluent means if having more buffer, so it interact with our product, it is degraded. So in this case you should take care about its solubility of our sample, because related substances time it is more 45 minutes. If you by evening you run your sample set, maybe tomorrow morning take the samples. The whole night it is only system stability sequence will going. So it will take morning means your sample should be stable in your diluent. If it is not stable in your diluent, before inject only it is degraded, you are not getting proper results. So biased results you are getting. So solubility of the drug, stability of the drug, you should keep in mind, okay, before selecting the diluent. Investigate the effect of the diluent in terms of organic and aqueous, pH, extraction volume, extraction process is there. So extraction process is there means sample prepared, sonication time, shaking time, centrifugation time. So these are all extraction and process time you should establish. Huh? Chromatographic changes like peak shape and resolution solvent ratio. A diluent mobile phase is preferable with consider above the points of the better baseline. So whatever your diluent should not contain more organic as compared with your mobile phase, because if you're having more organic in your diluent as compared with your mobile phase, baseline issue will happening. So whatever the organic composition is compared to your mobile phase, less in your diluent, so that time you're getting good baseline. Okay, next slide. So select the diluent for finished dosage forms in which the analyte should be extracted at least to 95%. Calculate the extraction against the pure compounds. So at least assay you should keep more than 95%. Otherwise, if you getting less extraction during the stability studies, your analysis will fail. So at least more than 95, near to 100, you should keep in assay. So in a related substance also, whatever the thousand some of the concentration you prepared sample, same concentration whatever the active ingredient means active samples you prepared, because active sample will soluble easily. So both sample injected, what is the comparative area against the means pure compound. If you're having both areas same means that is you are having complete extraction. Suppose in related substance you not know about it complete extraction, because in assay you should know about, because assay you are calculated against the standard. So if you're getting 90%, so you are not getting 85% assay. Oh, my product, my sample is not get extracted. But in related substances, you should not know about it extraction, because you are not compare the main peak. You are compared with related substances. So 95%, 90% extraction also in related substances, less volume of the impurities. It is find out very means that much difference is not there in related substances, because its concentration is very low. So in this case you should not know about it is complete extraction. So you pure compound, whatever the same concentration you inject pure compound also, both areas should compare. Same areas compare means your extraction is good. Okay, pure compounds concentration of the linear, your height also should keep 1 AU, otherwise your no before slide. Otherwise if you means your height is less than more than 1 year, your peak will saturated, so you cannot get good results. Okay, uh, dilute the test, the peak shape of all the components should be good. Yes, if you inject the sample you should take care about the peak shape of the impurities, peak shape of the analyte. Some of the peak shape is fronting is there, tiling is there, some of the so you should keep it, peak shape should be good. Okay, a sample may require sample treatment to remove the interfaces. So if you, after preparation of the sample, you should done the pre-treatment, filter compatible to studies, which filter is required, which saturation volume. So if you some of the after preparation, you transfer into syringe. So saturation volume required 2 ml or 3 ml, 5 ml. What is the filter compatibility? PVD filter, nylon filter. So different filter is there. So you should trial all this one. So centrifuge sample is unique. You should take centrifugal sample, compare all this filter and saturation. Whichever the saturation and filter compare results is close to centrifuge, that filter you should select. Okay, then go for next slide. So after finalizing the chromatographic conditions, whatever the gradient program, mobile phase and dilute, fix the test concentration to get the LVQ of all impurities and analyzed. So it is also important, test concentration. If you dissolution means not required, because whatever the strength is this, drop in 900 ml dissolution medium, that is only finished. 500 dissolution medium, that is only. Whatever the depth concentration, equal concentration standard you prepare. But assay also no problem. At least 50 to 100 ppm you prepare, same concentration standard you prepare injected, both are compare the result. But in the related substances you should select the sample concentration based upon the at LVQ level of your impurities. Suppose you prepare 1000 ppm of the related substance sample. In this 1000 ppm, what is the LVQ, limit of quantification, means reporting threshold is there based upon the daily intake. Less than 2 grams means 0.1% is this, more than 2 grams 0.0% reporting threshold is there. So if you drug is more than 2 grams daily intake means, so your reporting threshold 0.05. So in the 0.05 level, all your known impurities should be visible, good peak shape and reproducible, because in this LVQ level you are precise, accurate your method. So your recover should come, repeatability, precise your impurities area. So that concentration you are fixed in related substances. Okay. In case of LVQ, you are not meeting the requirement, increase either the test concentration or injection. In LVQ level, 0.05 level, you're not getting desired peak shape or area. Something in 0.05 level, you are getting only 300, 400. That is not good, because you're not getting repeatable that area. So your percent of RSD of your repeatability will fail, and recovery also you not get it, because in recovery you are being accuracy in placebo. So that much low level area will not get it repeatability in recovery. So in this case, you are increase your test concentration or injection volume. Suppose 10 ml is there, you increase the 20 ml up to 50 ml you are use, no problem. So at least at LVQ level, you should all the your known impurities should be visible and precise and accurate. You should keep in mind. Okay, value to get desired LVQ, or change the selectivity detector of specific component which can give you higher response. Okay. that is test concentration. Some of the ICH impurity threshold, this is whatever I discussed. This is in a reporting threshold. Below 1 gram, I sorry, I previously told you 2 grams. Actually, it is 1 gram is there. Below 1 gram is 0.1 percentage. More than 1 gram, you should keep 0.05. Drug threshold impurity identification threshold. This identification threshold will be set the specification. So in related substances, unknown impurity specification, you should keep in as same identification threshold, because you don't know that unknown. We don't know about the structure of unknown. You don't know about it unknown. So that's why whatever the impurities you are not qualified, so that all impurities should be key same as identification threshold. Mainly genotoxic impurities, what are the carcinogens is there. So all are keep in identification threshold, because these genotoxic impurities very harm to our human bodies. So if you take more, it will be harm. It will be change our mutagenicity and everything cells. So you should keep an identification threshold. If you qualify your impurity, qualified means that then you should keep an as same as qualification threshold. Otherwise, you don't know about the structure means you should keep an identification threshold. Next slide. These are the drug qualification threshold. These are all I'm talking about, only related substances. Keep in mind, don't confuse about it. Okay. In assay, you should keep 95 to 100% assay. That is only. These are all the related substance specifications. What are the impurities there? What are the related substances? We are analyze the impurities. So if analyze means we should having some specifications, some limits required. So this limit I'm talking about. Okay. So qualification threshold. These are the qualification threshold means below 1 mg, 10 to 100 mg, 100 to 2 grams, more than 2 grams. So if your impurity is qualified, your structural elucidation is there, you're having any safety data, biological data, and everything is there, that times you should keep on this qualification threshold as a acceptance criteria. Okay. Next slide. Okay, finalize is there. So specification is there. So how to fix the specification? So if development completed, so uh, dissolution specification is mainly based upon the solubility, different pH of the buffers, acetate buffer, phosphate buffers, 0.1 normal hydrochloric acid, 0.01 normal normal hydrochloric acid is there, bioavailability and bioequivalency. Based upon all this data, you should keep cumulative point, Q point. Okay. Dissolution, we should keep a Q point percent of, it is expressed as a percent of dissolved drug. Okay. Suppose Q point is 75 or 80 is there, you should not less than the dissolution, that much below. Okay. Assay label claim should be between 95 to 105. It is the default. Okay. 95 to 105. Don't below the 95 to 105, because if you at least 98, 99, 100 should require, because if you initial stage only you are getting 95%, in stability studies it may decrease 90, so that time your spec will fail, your method and whatever the sample analysis will fail. So at least you keep 99 to 100, worst case 97, 98. So in this case only you are at least the third year, fourth year, fifth year sample should pass. At least 90% assay you will get it. So 95 to 105, keep in mind. Okay. Related substances as per already, if you abbreviated new drug means already innovator is there, then same specifications we are taking, reference listed drug specifications. What I previously discussed about identification threshold, qualification threshold, same as RLD, you should take. If you whatever impurities you are getting more than this one, you should qualify the impurities. Okay. That time whatever the qualification specification you should keep in your list. And stability studies, post degradation, that okay, everybody should keep in this one. Okay. Okay, after set the specification, then go for the method validation. Okay. Okay. Our method validation completed, everything test preserve we will prepare and specification is ready, and our test report will approve, and after then we do the method validation. So before method validation we prepare the method validation protocol. So why should require the method validation? Method validation requirements, whatever our method developed is having some parameters there, is mentioned in guidelines. So whatever the guidelines mentioned acceptance criteria, our method should meet. Okay. That time only it is our method is fulfill approved from regulatory authorities. Method validation, once analytical method is developed for intent use, it must be validated. The validation of the analytical method demonstrates the scientific sounds of the measurement or characterization required to provide the validated data throughout the regulatory submission. Yes, right. Next. So what are the regulatory guidelines is there? ICH Q2, International Conference of Harmonization is there. Q2R, CDRA, Central Drug Evaluation Research, US FDA is there. So next USP, United States Pharmacopoeia General Chapter 1225, validation of the Campbell method is there. These are the some main regulatory guidelines. Some other guidelines also is there. World HO guidelines is there. IPA guidelines is there. So whatever we should follow these main three guidelines. Okay. Next. Next slide. So definition. Obviously you know about it. The definition about this one: validation is established document evidence which is provide the high degree of assurance that a specific process will be consistently produce a product meet its predetermined specification quality attribute. EU guidelines action of the providing in according with good manufacture principles that any procedure, process, equipment, material, activity, system actually leads to the expected results. Okay, that is next slide. So type of analytical processes to be validated, mainly identification by UV, identification by PDA, so identification by some coating materials, titanium oxide. So what is the identification test is there? Quantitative test for content impurity, the related substances, limit test is there, quantitative test means assay RS is there, CU content uniformity is there, blend assay, blend uniformity test is there, dissolution testing is there, particle size is there, cleaning validation also is there, swab analysis. So these are all the type of the procedure is there to be validated. Okay, next. So in method validation, just I will go for briefly because anyway whatever I mentioned you will get in anywhere. Just you read it the definitions. How we industry we are do practice the specificity. I will explain this is okay. Specificity is there. How is the specificity? Specificity means specific is there. Dissolution assay compare with placebo and blank. There is no interference about it. There is no interference. In related substances, our known impurities, main peak, there is no interference with placebo and blank. Okay, that is keep, and peak purity should pass. This only keep in mind. Okay, specificity. Next, force degradation. Actually, it is very lengthy topic. Just only what are the condition is there I will mention. Okay, acid study, base study, oxidation study. These are the hydrolysis. These are liquid states. So some of the normal acid base we are prepared and degrade the samples, inject into HPLC. We are checking any degradation peaks is there. So this is the why we need to perform the post degradation. Means our method is as a stability indicating method. So during the stability studies, whatever the degradation peaks, we are predicting post degradation studies. So if you without this post degradation study, we finalize the method and given to quality control. They are doing the analysis stability studies in third month, or sorry, 6 month or 1 year, 2 years. Any degradation peak will come and interference with main peak or known impurity. So our method is collapse. So waste. So before minimize that problems, we are post degradation study performed before finalize the method. So whatever the degradation peaks may come, so need to separate it. So all these all of these studies there. So we are degrade the sample, inject into HPLC. We are checking any interference is there. If any separation is required between the known impurities and impurities of placebo peaks. All of these one. Okay, you should keep in mind. Next. So accuracy. Accuracy means. So accuracy means the accuracy of analyte procedure express the closeness of agreement between the value which is accepted, either the conventional, the true value, accepted true value. Okay, it is the relationship between experimental and theoretical. Okay, in dissolution, what are the sample concentration is there? Then what is the placebo and active drug? We are added into the dissolution medium. Assay means what is the placebo 100%. We are prepared different level 50, 100, 150 levels. So in 3 levels also placebo should keep in same 100%. So whatever the 50% recovery, 100% recovery, 150% recovery should establish. I think it is 97 to 103%. recovery should come. In related substances, whatever the sample is there, impurities from LOQ to 120% of the specification level. So we are added to the sample, and whatever the added is the experimental concentration, sorry, theoretical concentration. What you are getting value is experimental. So what is the relationship between experimental and theoretical? What is the recovery? So 85 to 115% recovery should come. Okay, that is accuracy. Next, the precision. The precision means simple. We have prepared the 6 preparations. What are the dissolution? Also 6 preparations. Assay also 6 preparations. Related substance also 6 preparations. If related substances, if your impurities is there, spiking is required. 100% of the specification is there. That level we should spike the sample and inject whatever the impurity is found now. That is what is the percent of impurity found should be precise. So percent of RSD should should be in between, I think, 10 to 15% of related substances. For assay dissolution, for assay 2%, dissolution is 5% related percent of RSD required. So it is a repeatability, intermediate precision. So within the laboratory. So after the precision completed, different day, different analyst, different instrument, different column. So compare the both results. So both results should be within the limit. Okay. So before slide is, and reproducibility is there. Reproducibility is expressed between the laboratory. So it is mainly for method transfer. So one site is development and validation is there. Some other side quality control is there. So we prepare the repeatability precision results sent to the quality control laboratory. The quality control laboratory also perform the same. So both results compare. So if you both results within the results means the method should transfer. Okay. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. DL and QL. No, before. Yes. Detection limit and quantitation limit. Okay, detection limit means detection of the what is the lowest amount in our analysis detection. Our method, it is having the capability of the lowest amount. Okay, it should determined by our S/N ratio. Actually, in ISH, a different concept is there. Visual method, some other things. Mainly, we are using the S/N ratio. So at least not more than 3 to 10. Okay, S/N ratio should keep. Okay, QL limit means quantitation limit. What is the lowest amount of the unlight in the sample? It can be determined with acceptable precision. DL only we should establish, but QL means in this QL level we should precise and accurate our method. Okay, precision and accuracy starting from this QL level. So that's why quantitation limit, the S/N ratio is 10 to 30. S/N ratio we should take. Okay. Next, linearity. Linearity means the linearity of the analytical process is the ability to obtain the test results with directly proportional. So what is the concentration is there? Area is there. Response, area response. If you increase the concentration, increase the areas or response. So what is the relationship between the concentration and areas? So that is only show some in resolution. We prepare from 50 to 150% level, 5 levels. In assay also 80 to 120%, 3-4 levels. In related substances, LOQ level to 150% or 120%. Some different levels we prepare and injected. So we should know about what is the in percent of what is the response, what is the concentration. So in related substances, we are getting relative response factor from this linearity. So what is the requirement of relative response factor means we are analyzing the impurities. So again is this main analyte. So that response of main analyte and the impurities was different. So you nullify this difference, we are using the relative response. So relative response factor into our calculation. So what is the, because main analyte having the different response, impurity having the different response. So action is there now. So that's why we are taking the relative response factor. So relative response factor, we are getting correction factor applied into the calculation. Okay, next. So range means whatever the accuracy, precision, linearity. Both these three establish the range. What is the range of this method? So if your accuracy is LOQ to 120%, linearity also LOQ to 120%. So our range is LOQ to 120%. So method range, in this range, the method is able, in the method having the capable to detect all these things in this range. So this is the range. Some of the examples is there: content uniform 70 to 130%. These are ICH guidelines. Resolution test method plus or minus 20% of the release. So reporting level to 120% of impurity, reporting to 120% level access specification of impurity. Some of the range is there. Okay, next slide. So robustness. So robustness means actual method is there. We are changing some parameter. So the robustness analytical process measures the capacity to remain unaffected by small but deliberate variation in method parameters and provide an indication of its reliability during the normal uses. So we are changing some changes. So example, extraction time, pH of the buffer, flow rate, column temperature, sampler temperature, wavelength. So whatever we are changing and whatever the results getting, these are compared with actual method. So any variation is there, both this one. If we don't have any variation, the method is robust. The method having that much range. If any changing is there, that much level, so it is not won't affect any results. So for this one is the robustness we are performing. Okay. Next. I think this is the some reference is there. Okay. Next. The reference. Any questions on method development and validation?
Thank you, Mr. Arun Kumar. You went very deep, actually. Especially, I felt regarding the method validation parameters.
Actually, the time taking for more in development only. I think validation is validation. Everyone know about it because if you read in ICH Q2, you should know. But development, we are not getting any guidelines, and it is only practical knowledge. It is.
Okay. But many questions was asked by the participants. I randomly picked few questions. First question I just want to ask is that what is the UV cutoff range?
UV cutoff range means, suppose I may already explain that astronitrile and what is the phosphate having some UV cutoff. UV cutoff means whatever the astronitrile, methanol, and what is the buffer peaks is not visible from that wavelength range, from wavelength onwards. Suppose if you 210 wavelength cutoff means below 210, maybe the peaks will be appearing. Okay. It is the methanol and phosphate buffers peak will appearing. If you 210 onwards means that peaks will not appearing.
Buffer is playing an important role.
Yeah. For mainly in ionizable compounds, analysis of the ionizable compounds.
Thank you. And one more question: what is the main difference between the normal HPLC and reverse phase HPLC?
Only normal phase HPLC and reverse phase HPLC means I'm already told the drug properties. Either drug having the more less polar, then we go for normal phase because our normal phase columns having more polar nature. I know diol columns is there. So if you less polar, normal phase, more polar columns, whatever the drug will be staying in the column is less, so eluted fast. So in reverse phase, polar compounds and less polar stationary phase, the compounds eluted fast. So if you polar compounds and polar stationary phase means the compound will be stay more time and eluted very late.
Okay. So two phases are there: normal phase and reverse phase.
In only HPLC, normal phase, reverse phase is there, ionic pair is there, non-aqueous phase is there.
Okay. And some of the participant, Dr. Jose Ganababu, has raised many questions. One question is, which software is ideal?
Means for what? Ideal means software.
Which software we can operate nowadays?
Software means actually we are using Empower.
Empower, okay.
For Empower means only for analysis the HPLC. Actually, QBD we have the different software is there, quality by design.
Okay.
So it is a part of the robustness. We actually different one parameter change and remain parameter keep as different programs we are conducting, and whatever the pick one method having the good robust.
Okay. And the same person, Dr. Jose Ganababu, has one more question. How often instrument must be calibrated?
Yeah, it is actually what happened. Our products actually What Mr. Paul Richards, tell me, explain again question.
No. How often instrument must be calibrated? The person, Dr. Jose Ganababu, raised the question.
Often the
Then how often instrument has to be calibrated when we need to go for a method development and validation?
yes, actually our drugs are intended purpose only. So before injecting into the HPLC, method should be validated. The instrument should be calibrated and qualified, and whatever the probability should pass. The time only we are injecting into the samples. So it is one flow chart is there. So so for anyway development validation, we are using the mainly only for calibrated instruments only. Okay.
And Jaiveria Anjum raised a question. Method and validation techniques regarding HPLC discussed here are similar to TLC and HPTLC.
Mm-hmm.
So the method and validation technique we are using in HPLC, it
Okay.
is similar to TLC and HPTLC.
Yeah,
That is,
because whatever the guidelines is there, whatever the parameters is there, same for HPLC and HPTLC, UPLC, GC, whatever the instrument different also, the parameters are same. Whatever yesterday we discussed about the bioanalytical, that one also, we're having the same parameters is there, accuracy, specificity, that one also, LOD, LOQ. So
and
whatever the,
okay. And Paritala Jagadish, he raised a question, the finished product which is going to market, for that one, forced degradation studies perform in industry or not?
yeah, should definitely, because before validation only we perform the first degradation. In during the development also, pre-validation, some of the important validation parameters we are performed in development also. In this one, post degradation study, recovery, filter study, these are the most important, because once we finalize the method and prepare the protocol, during the validation, if any problem is there, again back to come, it is very time lengthy process, because nowadays competition more is there. So during the filing, the regulatory authorities, so time is very important. So before finalize the method, pre-validation parameters we are performing during the development. So what are the method is we full confidence about it. So it is completely our validation meet. So we are having the confidence about the confidence having about the method. The time only we are transferred to validation team.
Okay. And
They were the same.
we will take one or two participants to allow to talk. Vignesh, are you there? Vignesh M, are you there? Vijaya, are you there? If you're there, you can ask a question. Hello.
Hello.
It's okay. And most of the questions we cleared, I think so.
Okay, if you, what is the question is there now, Mr. Paul sir? You just send to me, and I will clarify again, give the answers, and you will share again to them. Okay?
Yes. Majority of the participants, they've asked for the PPT. Can I share? And
yeah, sure, share. Because it is my own preparation. So
okay.
If you any require, give them because the knowledge is not keep in our side. Okay, you should share to all these things. Okay.
It's okay. On behalf of the Abaipur management or principal, all the departments, we are very much thankful to you for this great session. And you are deliberately very depth you went. Actually, what the industry knowledge is a very common actual method development and validation. These are projects